Hello and welcome back to this tutorial on making a non-player character for our game. So we've been modeling this backwards. That's okay. It still works, so we can flip all the normals in a minute. If we go into edit mode and we turn on normals here, you'll see that they're all facing inwards. Quick control N. Oh, that's not going to work. So normals, flip normals will spin them all out the right way. So we're going to fill this bit in here. I'm going to do that now. And so we'll split our view. And we'll just position this image and we'll work away. We don't really need the image, but we may as well. Nope, don't do that. So that's minus 0.3 and then roughly there. Like I said, don't really need that, but won't hurt. Okay, so what we need to do is fill in this piece here. So, we've got some large areas here that we can cover. Not a great idea. I'm going to go control or put a loop cut through that. And we'll look here at that loop cut. And we'll just move that out on X a tiny bit. And then that gives us sort of that should sort of come back out with the jaw. Gives us a little bit of geometry to play with. And this is the sort of the interesting bit here. So we have to join up basically the inside of the ear. So here we go face. And then we have this sort of I could make this into a quad. I'm actually going to make it into two triangles because it's quite an acute angle. I think the quad will give us a funny result. So we can see here, this is what we've got there. So that's the result of that. So what I need to do is move this in on X. And okay. Now let's see what we've got here. So I need to move this vertically down and possibly rotate on Z and move it slightly back in here. Well, that's not too bad. I need to move these up a little bit. So I could probably do with a loop cut there, but it's going to add too much. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to take these two, extrude them, scale them, and just move them down a little bit. So that keeps everything as quads, but gives us a little bit more makes it more three-dimensional here. Okay, now I'm going to stop there. And the reason I'm going to stop there is I want to have a think about my design. So what am I actually doing with this character? And I have a couple of images here. This one here being the main one. So so I could model the rest of this head, which I've done the most difficult parts, which are the ears and the face. But there's no point in me doing that if I'm not going to be able to see them. So this sort of look here, and this is an image I found online. No, it's a male character, but I'm going to put kind of a hood, not dissimilar to this, onto my character and over their shoulders. And this character's got a whole bunch of quite complex kind of leather. He's got arm greaves and all sorts of things. So I don't know if we'll make it that complex or that much detail, but we'll definitely go for a hood. Now, the advantage of that is we don't have to model hair. Although hair is not too bad, but to model. But there is a difficulty in this. This will add an extra sort of complication when we animate, because the head may move, and this may have to compress and expand as the head tilts from side to side. But we'll do that. We'll sort that out in a while. Okay. So when I press 1 and go from front view, this is all facing the wrong way. So I'm going to select everything in my view and rotate this 180 degrees. I'll take this and see where it is in my 3D view. So we'll make it at. I'm going to have to move my eyes after I do this, but that's okay. So that's at 0, 0, 0. Let me take these guys here, move them forward, and move them negatively on X, and okay, so that looks about right. Now, my light is rather harshly, just to one side, so let's have a look. Now, we've got a little bit of work to do on the nose. You can see that the dark part of the nose, so that's kind of not wrapped correctly, or unwrapped correctly, so we have a bit of work to do on that. That's not too bad. Apart from that, though, we're okay, in okay shape. We're not going to worry about textures too much. What we're worried about is kind of shape. So, what I'm going to model from this mesh here. But I'll be separating things probably a bit later. So we'll call this head for now. So we have so this is eye. So that's the right eye. Okay. And let me turn on this so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So let's go back in here and start. So I'm just going to start with this bit here. So I want a hood that is going to extrude forward and down, but also out. Now keep in mind we've got our mirror modifier on here, and we've got clipping turned on, so it's going to keep me kind of solid in the center. So that's kind of fine there. Now if we look at our reference image, there is kind of thickness to the cloth. So let's take this here and use a very interesting and powerful tool called V, which is to split. So these verts all kind of joined at the same place, but they're basically duplicated and split. So I can now bring these back. Okay. So now let's see what we've got. So I'm going to take this object here, I'm going to go P, separate by selection. I probably need to higher it just a fraction. Okay, now I'm not going to worry too much about creases and ripples at this stage. We just want sort of a basic shape to it. Now, and so we'll extrude this down here. We'll have it kind of curl in on itself. And it's going to widen out for shoulders. Now, one of the nice things about doing this is, so I've got an edge here. So if we draw, so if I take this here, so I probably need to flatten these a little bit. There's too much of a dip there, so I'm going to go SZ, and we'll flatten them a little bit, not too much. And we'll rotate them a little bit. We basically have a rotational point somewhere around here that I can just, rotate back. So the back of this head should go up and out, sort of where my mouse is. So I'm going to go back into edit mode, and don't want all of these. I'm going to deselect to there. And I'm going to tell this to rotate around the cursor. So I'm going to go extrude, E, and then escape. So there's now a duplicate. I'm going to go OR. Oh, now, because this is turned on, it was moving everything. So the new geometry and the old geometry. So now I've turned that off. So OR. Now I can probably move this down a little bit. And rotate a little bit more. Yeah. And then rotate, and extrude, and rotate, extrude, and rotate, and now I'll just go back to my normal setting, which is individual origins, and then this can sort of go out there. So that's not bad. And this obviously has to go out over the ear, which begs the question, why do they model the ear? But we'll pull all this out so we can actually kind of see in a bit. So GX, so we'll move that out. Okay. And now we're in a similar sort of position to before. We're just sort of trying to turn this into quads and make it all sort of line up. And we'll have a fairly simple kind of texture on this, so we don't have to worry too much about like it'll have a kind of a Hessian sort of material on it, I imagine. So we want to, they'll have quite a bit of repeat pattern, so we don't have to worry about the geometry being perfectly aligned or perfectly spaced out. Now, I'm just going to delete them, so I've got one continuous sort of, so I'm in one space. You can bring that out a bit. And yeah, there we go. And now we're just about filling in, too far, this earpiece here. So I'm going to place a loop cut here, and that's going to let me go 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have and then a triangle. And I'll live with that triangle. So now that's not too bad at all. Now one of the things that we can do, so as we looked at our reference image, we said that it has sort of, the cloth has a thickness, so this doesn't have any thickness, it's just a plane. So over here we have a burr modifier, subdivision surface modifier, so we're going to add one more. We're going to add a solidify modifier. And then with this solidify modifier, we can apply thickness, so we can make it very, very thick. Obviously that's not desirable, but make it a bit thicker there. Now, let's rename this object hood. And we're going to just join this. So what we've got is sort of a hood that is flowing over our character's head. Now we'll have to tweak this, not perfect. We have to kind of continue on the body, add in shoulders and legs and arms and whatnot. But that's not a bad start. I think it's probably a tiny bit too low, as in the head's not big enough. So we'll take that there, turn on our proportional editing, and we'll lift this up a little bit. We'll make our So even though we don't have hair, we have to sort of make room for hair. So maybe if this is a bald character, the hood would, follow very tightly around the sort of the scalp. But if there was like a ponytail or any sort of hair at all, it would kind of push it out, so it wouldn't necessarily follow tightly the shape of the head. Okay. So. We'll leave it on, but we'll make it much smaller. Yeah. Okay, so we've made a hood, not perfect, but we'll add some more detail and cloth, and we'll add a seam to it where it joins here. We'll move on to that in the future, but this is where we are now, so we'll reframe this and take out a quick render and see where we are in terms of progress. And this obviously has no material. Oh, it does actually has the face material, so we'll give it a new material. And what have we got here? We've got eye and material, so we'll go plus, and we'll go green cloth, and we will delete that image. We will let's see what we have here in our procedural textures. We have a checker texture, so we'll put that in, and we will add a mix shader. That's what we were. Add this in here. Now let's go to render, and let's start. So we have this called, it's called green, so make it a kind of a dark green, and then see where this gets us here. If we can get it. Okay, so it hasn't really added much to us. So let's see if we can get a different. I haven't used that one before. So Musgrave's an interesting one. It's an interesting pattern. And we need to send this through a diffuse text shader. There we go. Actually, that's probably why the checker one didn't work. So we'll try that one again. So we'll go checker texture. Send that. There we go. So let's take this one. I'm going to make it kind of a brown kind of color. Now, hopefully, we can scale this up the other way. So we'll make this, I don't know, 75. And make this a bit darker. And I don't know, that's not beautiful. But so let's just delete this, and we'll leave it dark brown or dark green. Okay, and we'll render that and see what we get. Now, like I said, the texture of the face isn't ready. I have to repaint the nose. It just gives a very quick idea. So let's escape out of here. Now it's taking too long to render, and we're that's because we're on CPU rendering, and my samples are very high, so we'll just set that to say 20, and we'll look at performance, and yeah, we go 512 and 512, and we will notice a significant increase in the render speed. Yeah, that's not too bad. So that's going to be our sort of like our starting point for where we go from here. Okay, we'll leave it at that for now.